Member of Parliament from Nepean Carleton, Ambassador Ishikawa, Embassy of Japan. Light here is very bad. Ambassador Madame Grubicic, Republic of Croatia, Mr. Jaroslav Kurek from the Embassy of Poland, Madame Agokush, Embassy of the Republic of Turkey, Ms. Britt Benson, Embassy of Sweden, Mr. Teddy Greenfield, International Vice President, past President of B'nai B'rith, and Mr. Michael Mawson, Consul of B'nai B'rith, Mr. David Matus, Mr. David Kilgore, and Mr. Fred Litwin. Honored and distinguished guests, mesdames et messieurs, soyez tous le bienvenue, welcome all. First, I want to thank Fred Litwin. He's done a remarkable job with this Free Thinking Film Society over the years, and especially with this. I didn't know that Fred Litwin was such an upstart, but I will tell you that last year when he showed Uranium, and the Iranian embassy insisted that it be shut down, and it needed the intervention of the Minister of Canadian Heritage to tell the Iranian embassy that nobody dictates to us what films we show in Canada because we still have free speech. Because Fred Litwin keeps showing these kind of films, so more power to Ukraine. Thank you. The piece that Natasha and I just performed is called Quiet, Quiet, Shtiller, Shtiller. It was written by 11-year-old Alex Volkovitsky in the ghetto, the Vilno ghetto. They had contests in the ghettos to keep alive the spirits of the children and to keep their minds off their stomachs that were twisting with hunger and the daily deaths all around them. No 11-year-old child should know about the massacre of 100,000 Lithuanian Jews in the forests of Punar. Almost 1 year ago, I proposed this evening's program to honor on the 100th anniversary of his birth an astonishing man, Raoul Wallenberg, who would not remain quiet while innocent civilians were being slaughtered. Edmund Burke penned a well-known adage, all that is required for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing. There's also a Talmudic idiom that if you save a single life, it's as if you had saved an entire universe. When Soviet forces liberated Budapest in February 1945, more than 100,000 Jews remained, principally because of the efforts of Wallenberg and his colleagues. His contribution would already have been remarkable had he been Jewish or Hungarian, had he shared a personal past, an ethnic, religious, or national identity with those he saved. But what makes Wallenberg's contribution so particularly astonishing is that he had no personal or vested interest in the outcome of saving Jews nor Hungarians. Wallenberg was a Swedish architect. He was a businessman and a diplomat. He was a non-Jew. He left the safety and the comfort of his home with his own family to put his own life in critical and final risk to confront the Nazi killing machine in Hungary. Like Chiune Sugihara of Japan, like Irena Sendler of Poland, like Giorgio Perlasca of Italy, Dolnar and Boris Zharko of Croatia, and Consul Selahattin Ukumen from Turkey, and too few others contributed the courage to care, the commitment to act. In so doing, these righteous Gentiles, these diplomats continue, and social workers and so on, continue to inspire in us the ongoing struggle for justice, peace, and human rights. Wallenberg saved some 100,000 Jews during the Holocaust. He showed that one person, every one of us, can make a difference, must make a difference. As David Matas and David Kilgore are doing, they were nominated in 2010 for the Nobel Peace Prize for their work on Falun Gong and harvesting of organs from Falun Gong practitioners by the Chinese government. So thank you, gentlemen, just for that alone. None of us has the right to say, I'm too tired, I'm too busy with my family, I can't make a difference, I can't fight such corruption and evil. We can, we must. In 1985, Wallenberg was made the first honorary Canadian citizen, and the government declared January 17th, the day he was kidnapped by the invading Soviet army, as Raoul Wallenberg Day across Canada. Alors que Wallenberg a sauvé tant de personnes, nul de ceux qui auraient pu l'aider n'est venu à son secours. Plutôt que d'être salué comme le héros qu'il était, il est disparu dans le goulag soviétique sans laisser de traces. Les autorités soviétiques persistent à affirmer qu'il est décédé en juillet 1947. From tonight's film, you will learn that while Wallenberg saved so many, he was not himself saved by any who could have done so. Rather than greet him as the liberator he was, the Soviets, who entered Hungary as liberators themselves, imprisoned him. Wallenberg disappeared into the Gulag, and the Soviets claimed that he died in July 1947. The International Commission on the Fate and Whereabouts of Raoul Wallenberg, chaired by our beloved Erwin Kotler, Liberal Member of Parliament, including Ila Wiesel from the United States and Wallenberg's own brother-in-law, determined that their 1,200-page report in 1999 that the evidence was incontrovertible that Wallenberg did not die in 1947. The evidence was compelling that Wallenberg was alive in the 50s and 60s and credible that he was still alive in the 70s and 80s. Legally speaking, Wallenberg remains a disappeared person. Thanks to the tireless and relentless efforts of another great humanitarian, Mr. David Matas, from whom you will hear later this evening, the burden of proof with respect to what happened remains with the Soviet-Russian successors to this day, and David has been a tireless researcher in that regard. We'll all have a chance to sign a petition that we'll be able to present to Parliament to petition the Soviet government to open their files more thoroughly to David so he can continue his research and let us all know what happened to Wallenberg. The Commission and David have found that the Soviets who maintained that he had died in 1947 had themselves never visited the prison, never examined its archives, never interviewed any of its officials, and never interrogated any of the witnesses, inmates. In a word, they have no basis on which to conclude anything regarding his fate. But we all want to know. So to that end, please sign the petitions before you leave. Before I welcome to the stage Mr. Teddy Greenfield, former Chair of B'nai B'rith, to offer words, and then Mr. Pierre Poilievre, Member of Parliament from the P in Carleton. Natasha and I would like to offer one more song in tribute to Raoul Wallenberg. He manifested the best of what today we call international humanitarian law. He symbolized today what we call humanitarian intervention. In saving Jews from certain death, deportation, and atrocity, he symbolized what today we would call the responsibility to protect doctrine. And in warning the Nazi generals that they would be held responsible for their war crimes, he was a forerunner of the Nuremberg principles and what today we would call international criminal law. Today, truly, Raoul Wallenberg raises us up.